The 90s and the early 2000s, they were a bit of wonder, enjoyment. There was a bit of unease. You had no idea what was to come. You had no idea what the future would hold. There was many things, little bits of magic that these eras would unfold for the current time and date. Today, we're going to look at a few videos that capture a bit of that magic, just so you guys get a glimpse of what it was like back in those days. The 90s, it was not as connected online. We didn't have nearly as much to do with a computer. Some, the closest computer might have been at the school. For most, they probably never even used one at this period. Computers, internet, cell phones, these were just things of science fiction, storytelling that didn't really exist at this time. Sure, there were people having some home computers. If they worked in a position that required for them to have a computer, maybe. Um, there may have been a few people that had one for um, sales. They would sell stuff, you know, over the phone. They might sell stuff from a warehouse, or maybe they manufactured it from home. But very rarely did you ever see that. The common things you would see in an everyday home: TV, VCR, maybe. Um, you would see the cable box, radio, books galore, board games, action figures, comic books, physical media that very seldomly is held in high regard these days. That is what the 90s and the early 2000s held. People championed owning the things that they purchase, because your dollar should go towards something that is physical, something that you own, something that you control to some degree. You might not always enjoy the quality of the things that you have, but it's yours. You bought it. You worked the hard hours to get the money to get together the thing that you bought. It was a this for that era. That is the kind of thing that you gain from having and holding objects like that. So, here in a minute, we'll go ahead and watch those videos. These are just videos I pulled up on YouTube. They are not mine. They are products of these fellows we're about to see here in a moment. And I hope you guys enjoy. They are not best quality. They are from early eras, so the frame rates, the uh, resolution is not nearly as crisp as you guys might be used to. But that was pretty common back in the day. See, what happened when we switched from a digital signal and UHF, UHF and VHF signals, they were the old style TV, analog, you might have heard. These signals would broadcast to a TV that would regulate it and put it in a way that made sense. And now that we've closed the gap, so to speak, in a technical manner, um, think of Legos. Back in the day, UHF and VHF would fit your screen like Legos, puzzle pieces. They kind of would fit in a row and column format. And the TV would produce that image, project it, and round it out. a little bit. And with digital signals, they don't work like that. They're bits, they're squares, they're little pixels on your screen that make up the image. So when you take old video and you put it on a digital screen, those spaces that the old TVs would fill in, they don't exist anymore. So the resolution looks worse than it actually was. I'm not saying that old picture was great quality. Um, I'm just saying that the way that the TVs projected them made them look better than what they do now. So that's why you see, 420p and be like, oh, how did people watch it like that? Because they didn't. 720 is pretty much the quality you get when you revert those analog signals back to their original format. So, anyways, we will watch these videos. Um, Back into the dog pen we go. Now, again, these are not my videos. They are products of YouTube. And we will watch them. One is a video of Blockbuster, which is pretty cool. What my thingy is doing. There it goes. I don't know why it's all jank today. I woke up and a lot of this stuff got moved on me. A lot of the stuff got situated. I don't know what OBS does when it's off, but if it could kindly not, that'd be great. Um, I'm not the only one that fights with this stuff, but golly gee, man. That is church swear for motherfucker. Get it right. Anyways, um, again, this was not my video. It is a video on YouTube. This video it is given to us by Vampire Robot, their channel. I don't know anything about them. I just know this is a video. I've seen it before on other sites. I've seen it on TikToks and Instagram and things like that. And so it's not that rare of a video. Anyways, check it out. As you can see, these are films of the decade. This is 1993. Renting videos at a Blockbuster store in 1993. It's just a little video there. And look at those screens. You can't even read it because of the way the frames work. But yeah, look at that. Yeah, look at that kid, man. He's a fully grown adult now, paying taxes. Probably has kids of his own. That video he's got in his hands, it was a freaking. It was crazy, man. But yeah, look at all these rows of tapes. Let go of it. I have no idea where this is taking place from, but I mean, this is pretty standard. Like you would go in here, it'd be packed with people coming in and out. You know, you didn't really know what to have. You didn't know what to expect from these. You know, um, previews only showed you so much, and most people didn't catch every movie in the movie theater. So it was one of those things you kind of just had to you had to play the roll the dice. That's why a lot of stinkers got through because you just didn't know what was going to be good or not. People made stuff not from IPs, so you could just depended on what people wrote back then. I mean, half of the blockbusters that you would find, which is where why they call it that, um, they um, they were all made like that. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, Turtles in Time. Some of it was good. Some of it was just, you just kind of was like, why? You know, Home Alone 2. That was a good one. Um, Man, 988. You could buy them. That's the thing. You could buy some of these. And that's how much a tape would have cost you back then. Basically, you take a $10 bill and be like, "Hey, I can get a movie." Raisinets, Kit Kats. Yeah, they would rent movies. They would rent games. They would do all that. Pretty wild. Oh, that T-shirt, dude! You saw that everywhere, man. Taz and Bugs. That was the fit back in the '90s, right there, dude. I can't tell you how much of that stuff you would just see regularly. I don't know why they're focusing on that movie particularly, but sure. And they're really focusing on the ones that they really liked, I guess. The ones they really loved, '90s. It was full of a lot of action flicks and dramas and lots of horror films and a few comedies here and there. But they really pushed all that, man. You had young Jack Nicholson, Demi Moore, and Tom Cruise. That's baby face Tom Cruise before he went crazy. Musicals, comedies. Yeah. It's basically how you figure things out. They would show you where things were, and you had to be on the hunt. You know what I mean? I don't know why they're focusing on all the categories. I think everybody gets it. I'm kind of glad they did, but at the same time, it's just like horror, romance, tear jerkers. It's college. I don't have anything to do with that commercial, but yeah, that the '90s was something else. It was kind of like I don't know if you've ever been anywhere where you've had to wait for a long time or something, but it kind of had that air of just that. Everybody was anxious. They weren't sure what was on the horizon with the year 2000 showing up. They a lot of them believed in the Y2K thing. Basically, the Y2K, if for those of you who are too young to know, it was a thing where people believed that the computers were going to take the world. They thought that because the calendars on the computers they did not roll over like that at the time, so they just thought that all the computers were just going to go haywire, and everything that ran on it, from electronics to uh, really it wasn't anything that crazy. um, Computers didn't have that kind of control back then. Most resources at that time were still being mechanically controlled. Um, but they thought, airlines were going to go down and ships were going to lose navigation and communications was going to start going down and stuff like that. There wasn't really anything major to make them believe these things were going to happen. That it was primarily just that. It was superstition that they really like overdid. There's not really any reason for it. Um, Knowing what we know about computers now, there was just there's no real reason to believe all of that. But anyways, with all that craze, there was actually a lot of stuff that like got messed up. I remember uh, my dad had got a year 2000 Ford Windstar, and say what you want about Fords, but this one was particularly messed up because the manufacturer of the plant believed that um, this Y2K thing was going to happen, and he thought his plant was doomed to fail because of it. And so he decided to um, rush cars off the lot, off the plant. So quality control was not done, and the vast majority of year 2000 vehicles, specifically 1999, year 2000, um, those cars specifically were problematic at best. Um, but yeah, here we go with video number two. This one is particularly 90s and 2000s gaming. Again, I don't have any. This is not mine. I don't have any control over it. It's just it is what it is. So um, hopefully you guys enjoy it. So this is kind of one of those. I don't know anything about this guy. It says my 90s thing for the channel. Um, so yeah, hopefully it's cool. It is a 12-minute long video, so hopefully it is okay.
This. You're 10 years old, it's Friday evening, and you look at this stack of Game Boy cartridges and the SNES controller. And you're itching to get a new game, so you count your pocket money and you realise you just enough to rent it out of a box at Coffee 10. Maybe you're hunting for a Pocket Final Fantasy 7 or Resident Evil. Or you use yourself for a movie title.
Boy, man, look at them graphics. Let's look at my boy Cloud over here, Barrett there,
Final Fantasy 7, or Resident Evil.
Resident
You yourself
Evil.
can move time like then you hit that
Uh,
jump to the best blockbuster,
yeah,
and suddenly the world is a great. You're locked into it because
yeah,
you brought the gaming in the 90s and 2000s wild, chaotic, and full of rules that nobody wrote down unless you had the cheat codes. It was 16, 32, and 64 that actually should feel just as special as today. PC gaming wasn't just arriving, and you were going to blockbuster, you were falling a CRT monitor to a LAN party. Even most of the
look at that game there. That Flash games style video game right there for you. Jeez, man. Just shows you what things were like back then. The kinds of games that existed, you know.
even boosting the console back then was an experience in itself. That original PlayStation stop sound, it hit like a jump scare. Pure silence sound.
He did it. Motherfucker did it. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. He didn't finish it. He triggered us on purpose too. That motherfucker. And look at that, the red ring of death.
Not just sound. The sounds are burned into our brains.
Jesus, man.
Instantly 8 years old, way too close to TV. There's no online gaming, no tutorials unless you've got a magazine guide. The only way to try before you buy was go to Toys R Us and hope they have demoed the game on the display kiosk.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, man. Look at this. Look at the way they did this. The art that they put on these. You know what I'm saying? Like just look at it. Like it was clean, it's crisp. Each of the logos, like from let me get the Street Fighter guy up there. Where is it? There he is. I mean, look at that. The box art itself, it sold the game. You know what I mean? Like, you didn't know about this game. Nobody, like, unless you had a friend that bought the game before you. But like, think about it from today's perspective. You didn't have you didn't have um game uh conferences where they would tell you premieres of new games coming out. They didn't have anything like that. They had a magazine if you subscribed to it. Nintendo Power and Sega and PlayStation, they all had their thing. Um, but this was how you knew what games were. And in order to find out where the good games were, you had to you had to roll the dice and buy it, or you had to get lucky and rent it. You know, that's why it was so important to rent things back in the day, was because we didn't have as much information available to us. Gaming was just an idle pastime. It wasn't anything important enough to use a computer for back in the 90s. They had games on the computer, but it wasn't intricate like the consoles were doing at this time. There were a few exceptions, but primarily gaming was, a kid's toy thing. You'd buy the game system, the console. You buy the cartridges. Maybe somebody would buy one for you for your birthday or Christmas, or maybe they give you the money to rent one. But that was basically it. That's the only way you would find out about these kinds of games. You would just have to learn from your friends. You'd have to learn from your family. You would have to learn from, you know, kids at school and stuff. That's just the way it was.
There's no way to know.
Oh, fuck this game, dude. This is for anybody that don't know. This is Superman 64. It is by far the dumbest fucking game they made. They could have done all kinds of things with this game at this time period, and they chose to make it a race around the clock kind of game. Yeah, I guess it was okay to fly a Superman, but you kind of wanted more than just some weird obstacle course thing. Yes, you did have all of Superman's powers from his heat vision and his ice breath, but you didn't really you used them, but you had to use them so fast. It was pretty ridiculous. This game, it was awful, just awful. Um, really, they should. I mean, as a kid, I wanted my money back. You know what I'm saying? I didn't even buy the dang thing, but like this game was just like it did not hit the mark at all. Um, gosh, man, dude. Oh god, that hit me something. I have no idea what this is. Frick you, advertisement.
Gaming in the 90s.
Look at that cord management. Oh, look at that. Those freaking ball bearings from Crossfire, man. They'd freaking take your tooth out, dude. I don't know what they're doing with their gaming setup there. That's something extra. That's rough, buddy. Like I had some pretty rough setups myself. Like it wasn't perfect. But it did not look like that. That's something else altogether. Well, this is exactly what I was talking about. When you're looking at your basic home in the 90s, you had your metal shelf, which I don't know why everybody and their fucking brother had one of these, but they had these metal shelves. Um, it was with board games. It had toys on them. You're not even sure where these fucking toys came from. They just held on to this shit for dear life. Um, you would also have a bookshelf somewhere. These were the board games that you were like going to play right now. Um, God knows what the hell this shit was up on top of the desk, but everybody knew somebody that had shit like this. Everybody knew somebody that had an uncle that had all these toys, or a grandpa, or all these tools and whatnot just spread out everywhere. Like this whole thing here is 90s exact to a T. Like you're not getting anywhere closer than this. Like I would not be surprised to see half empty beer cans just like back there, just because. And some of them would have ashes in it from the cigarettes they were smoking. Like it is that imprinted. Ah, dude. Dude. Bro. Oh yeah. This. This is the early 2000s. Bro didn't have they were all brought over to sleep over. They didn't have enough blankets or something. This dude over here, I was this dude more times than not. And I might not have even like fallen asleep there. I probably would have fell asleep on these fucking shoes for some damn reason. You know what I mean? Like it was just like that. Um, you don't see any boxes of pizza though, because that was like the staple food. It still is today, but like you would go and there would be like a Pizza Hut box or Domino's or Papa John's or somebody. You know what I mean? Little Caesars. Take your pick of your pizza place. There would be a box there, maybe two, maybe three, depends on how many guys were here. With this slot, there was probably a bunch of them. Um, and then you'd get like a case of Mountain Dew or Pepsi or something, and you just be gaming, dude. Like that's your weekend. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what gaming in the '90s was. Dude, LAN party. I'm sorry to keep pausing it, but like all this shit, man. You got the cable box up here. It might be a VCR. It doesn't look like a VCR. It might be just the cable box. This family was loaded though, because you don't you didn't see this much. This was a family that had the money at the time. Um, you got the 64 down here with all the games stacked up next to each other. You got the Magnavox TV with the this is probably cable since they could afford all this. I don't know what this is. This might be a juice box or something. If it was a popular juice thing or a soda or something, um, if I had a better picture of it, I probably could tell you. But look at the speakers on this summon gun. I don't know exactly what that is on top. Maybe the virtual boy. I doubt it though. Um, but look how big this computer is over here. Um, then you got the computer here. So this guy is controlled by this one, and then this guy is this one. And then they had the printer, and then they had more speakers here for this computer. And then they had the speakers here for this computer. That looks like an OG webcam? Question mark. Uh, the ergonomic keyboards for all three keyboards. Um, but this one doesn't have a mouse. It could be an ergonomic keyboard that has the mouse built in, which would be something else altogether. Um, but yeah, dude,
The garage on the selling out of back
Malcolm in the Middle.
in my case,
Uh,
yeah, leaving an impossible position seems to be let alone when all that best friend can't just sit down laughing because they're not having snap picture.
this this was a '90s thing for freaking sure. You got the split screen game where you're fighting your buddy. Um, this is definitely later, like later era gaming. Um, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, maybe. This was definitely not PlayStation 2. Um, but yeah, you got the split screen. This is probably like SOCOM, maybe uh could be Battlefield, it could be um original Call of Duty. Um I don't know, I can't really tell from here. It's definitely not Halo because these are not these don't look like the controller. It could just be a weird glow here, but this glow kind of reminds me of the glow from the PlayStation. So Here you go. The Xbox. This is the Xbox version. Got the Xbox controllers down here. This dude over here. Definitely Halo 2. Jesus, dude. Look at this. This guy, this is this is the era. You know what I'm saying? They stacked up the books. This is a newer TV. This is Xbox Series X, uh, Xbox One Series X or something like that. Could be a Xbox 360 Elite, maybe, but same concept. You know what I mean? You got the kids down here. I don't know who this guy was going. What they were. I think this guy was trying to teach these kids something. You know, it definitely had that vibe. I don't know why he's on the table like that, but you know, anything to get that vantage point. You know what I'm saying? Streets of Rage, bro. Yeah, exactly. No game reviews. Yeah, and then you'd bring the neighborhood kid, and some dipshit would get pissed off and break your controllers, or they. This was the most annoying part. This was the worst part. Like I can tell you a lot of good things about the '90s and the 2000s. This was awful because a lot of games on the Super Nintendo, the Sega, even the Nintendo 64, and some games, they were saving internally onto the consoles, or not on the consoles, on the cartridges themselves. They would have memory cards put on them. And PlayStation, Xbox, and some Nintendo 64 games required you to buy not only a system, but you had to buy the memory cards to save data onto. And that's how you saved your game. Kingdom Hearts, the game we're going to be playing here in a bit, you had to have a memory card on your PlayStation to play Kingdom Hearts originally. That's why all the little physical save points exist, because that's where you wrote the save file onto the memory card. This this was also a thing. So gaming was not the main thing kids did back in the 90s. The kids back in the 90s, surprise, surprise, played outside. Most of the time unsupervised. They had to have an advertisement around 5, 6 o'clock that asked, "Do you know where your children are?" Just so the parents would remember, oh shit, we have kids. That was it. That's what they did. You know what I mean? And a lot of times, this is where this was before a lot, and I don't understand why things are the way they are now. However, it is wild that this is just was just a fact. Um, you hear people from the '80s say that they drank from a water hose almost always. We kids from the '90s also drank from a water hose, so don't let them flex like that. Kids today still drink from a water hose. It's not that uncommon. People still play it. Kids still play outside and whatnot. They're just supervised now, which is kind of what people expect. Anyways, people forget that Gen, the millennials, the Gen X's, the um Gen Z's, they're raising kids, and they're raising kids the same way we were raised for the most part, just supervised. You know, it's not that crazy. Jesus, dude, smoke show. Oh, this is that's OG GTA. Yeah, look at that. Jeez, I didn't play that one. Hold on, let's see. Ocarina of Time. That's not the right color of the cartridge. Put it in its proper attire. Um, this is Rogue Squadron again, proper attire. This would have been black. This would have been gold. Um, this is uh Donkey Kong Racing or Diddy Kong Racing, Paper Mario. I didn't play that one. I don't think. I did play Perfect Dark, Smash Bros. This is Mario Party 3, Banjo Kazooie, F Zero. This is Mario Tennis or Mario Golf. I can't remember which. Star Fox 64. I can't really tell. That I think that's Banjo Tooie. Let's see. I think this is Gex. THQ. I don't think they did Gex. I'm not sure. This is probably why most of us have lung problems. I'm just saying that right now. Oh, yeah. Fixing the scratches, bro. Look at that. Look at what he's doing. He's putting toothpaste on it. And then he's going to rinse it off. He's going to rub that shit into the cracks and into the scratches. And then he's going to warm it with his breath and then wipe it down. And that shit worked. This is what it looks like on the memory card. This is how you figured out, where your shit was. And hopefully your stuff saved right, because if it didn't, it would erase the whole damn thing. Not part of it. It would erase everything on that game. Sometimes stuff did not save right. Sometimes things would just get wild. Look at that. Yeah, yeah. If your memory card was too full, like you just saved one game too many times, you know what I mean? You had to decide, what the fuck am I going to delete? You know what I mean? You had to decide. There was no choice. And if a game that you was playing required more spaces than all the others, guess what? You're kind of SOL until you finish that game. Jeez, dude. This is a GameCube. But bro, look at all that, man. Ooh. Ooh, man. Sega was way ahead of its time. This is a memory card. And you could play games on it if you saved a little game on it. Some of them did. Um, this is version 2. This is the original. You slotted this into the controller, and the controller read it for the system. This was fucking way ahead of its time. The idea behind this was you saved your game and you could take it with you to a friend who also had one and still have your file. And you could put it into their controller and still play your game. This was ridiculously ahead of its time. The Dreamcast did way more than they got credit for. And honestly, they deserved more credit.
PC gaming back then was insane.
Another LAN party. This was World of Warcraft, most likely. You can't really see what they're doing, but it could have been that. Most likely. Oh my god, dude. This is OG SimCity. Looking like a little what do you call that? Stardew Valley a little bit. Oh Jesus. This is a nightmare. You see this fucking screen pop up on your shit. Your whole save might be gone. The game might be fucked up. Um, your computer could be fucked up. You had to unplug shit. You had to wait at least an hour for everything to boot back up. The computer would yell at you for a good hour and a half. Then you could possibly reinstall your game. And this is also what's crazy. A lot of us learned to do this right here. All these chords and everything. We learned how to make this stuff work. I know that drink. I can't like the name's not coming up. I've definitely drank that drink. There's one over here too. Doom. Look at this, man. This is a floppy disk right here. The floppy disk, you would put it into a hard drive. It read it just like a physical CD, which you may not have seen before because those are kind of going away. But this is the very original game. This is what it looks like. You would not have any other games without this.
Most kids didn't know these was existed. Their most kids, the only way you can find is shit and picking championship manager, glorious, pixelated chaos of lemons.
Yeah, lemmings.
Final Fantasy.
Look at this. Like, I'm not usually a big like um advertisement dude, but check out this, man.
Online.
You haven't played Final Fantasy 14, do it. I mean, it's worth it. If you got the money. Obviously, if you don't bother. It's not that serious, but crazy, dude. We was just doing that too. We was just lugging it. And if you didn't have a car, if you did not have a car, you were lugging this shit across the neighborhood, dude. Like, this is heavy as fuck. This bro probably carried it from like 3, 4 blocks down. You know what I mean? Like that's what gaming was.
Nice house. Should have got me a leaf that came.
Ah, dude, this is Unreal. I think Unreal Tournament, probably Truman Show. There's Boba Fett over there. Jango Fett, Boba Fett, South Park. A bunch of sodas people finished and they just kept the cans for some reason. Um, Look at these sodas, man. This is 3D Doritos. They make them now, but they're smaller. This is what the cans looked like. If anybody tells you there's not a shrinkflation thing going on, this right here, look, 24 ounces. This is 24 ounces of soda. This was probably like 32 ounces of snacks. And you definitely got it way less price than what you do now. Oh my god, dude. Sorry, this is this guy's got it. Console war between Sony and Nintendo. Same thing here. NBA Jams, the shit. Yeah, absolutely. This is what I was talking about. This is the controller. You put that memory card in this thing, and then you plugged it in its slot, and for some, it just worked, man.
There's always a discovery from the N64 players to the PlayStation players. Mega Drive just being Did you the graphics could get any better? I mean, look at it. I mean, seriously, the moon landing was CGI. The game wasn't just about the cartridges, it was about hardware, it was the extras. Limited edition consoles were
This Hey You Pikachu was an absolute flex. This is a special edition Nintendo 64 with the controller, and it came with the microphone. Game Boy Pocket. These things was the shit. I didn't have that. There's the memory card for the 64. That is the original 4 controller slot thing for the Sony PlayStation. You plugged it into the front and it just wrapped around the back. Some of them you just plug this into the front and it would just be, you know, the link cable for the Game Boys. This is the original Game Boy. It had no color. It was durable as shit. Um, this fucking transform it into a fucking machine. This Nintendo Power. This is how you learned when the new releases was coming out. This is how you learned. It would have cheat codes in them. It would have little hints and tips about certain games if you were lucky. Sometimes they would come with demos. It just depended on the time frame, the year. It was a whole other thing. There you go. There's the second version. They also had Sega actually made their own comics as well for their games. Just
They
saying.
weren't just £3 and $5.
There's the PlayStation ones, or the ones for the computer, or they had ones for the early Xbox. That's a lot of subscriptions you had to have just to figure out stuff. There's the cheat codes. Um, a lot of times, what we would do as a kid, if you didn't have the money, that's kind of messed up. But you'd go to the library and hope that they had a book, and then you would rent the book. You would write down all the cheat codes to the games that you had, whether it be Mortal Kombat or um, Street Fighter games, fighting games like this. You didn't really know the moves; they were just kind of hidden. So if you didn't know how to do it, you had to either A, figure it out, or B, have a list, because the game didn't list it in the early days. But we would get the we would rent the books from the library, the Game Shark or Game Genie, um, write down the code, and just do it that way instead of buying them. This is what I was talking about, the demos.
Buying games back then was an event in itself. Toys R Us would completely update it, wait, spend hours and never get the character.
Toys R Us saw what this was, and they like quadrupled down. Look at this.
$60 and £50 might sound more than
I mean, seriously, they saw what gaming was going to be, and they was like, bet, and they just like hit the gas on that shit.
This was it's why we set up the stuff. No thought to watch classes kids. Just
We did do that. We did all of that. Oh god.
It was really good while it lasted, but in my case, my PlayStation like 56 was later, which is absolutely hot. Then there were the nibs. This was before the internet could instantly. Gaming in the 90s and 2000s was full of rooms that spread instantly by word.
This was fun. This game here, Road Rash. I think that's what that is. Road Rash. This is freaking. It was fun.
If you skip all of the shit, so front up, and you strengthen that trope, the new would appear. None of it was true, but the trope was real, but it did exist.
Yeah, that's the thing about that I was telling everybody. They always said that this is how you got new in the game, except you couldn't. That was not how you did it.
Yes. It wasn't just Pokemon, it's all the visuals hits, so that's Mario 6.
Yeah.
But you could have the try that Reptile was playable in Mortal Kombat and all about blocking. Then GTA came along and took the game this to a whole different
This was a real thing, though. They actually put you started putting Easter eggs into games because of all the rumors and theories that were hidden in each of these games. So Grand Theft Auto and Rockstar. So Grand Theft Auto was still very new at this time. This is Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, um, released around 2004 to 2006. Um, the reason why I gapped it that wide is because it showed up on in 2004, I believe, on the PlayStation 2, And then little bit later, around 2006, it showed up on the Xbox. Um, anyways, they were made by a bunch of kids in college. That's why this game did so well. This game was made and written by college kids. Rockstar said, you know what? I'm going to leave the information to you. We're going to have you guys do it. And this game is going to be all about you. That's why it was done so well. And then somebody said, you know what? Let's go ahead and put some Easter eggs in the game. You had to search for this. That way, whenever a rumor would go around, you would actually find them. You know what I mean?
And Facebook side. Most of it was real, but Rockstar being so talented it made everything believable. And even though that you were from
This was freaking cute. This. This is why I was talking about pizza in the 90s and uh, gaming. These were two big markets that were like, you know what? Let's work together because there's two things kids in this world will enjoy. They'll enjoy pizza and gaming. And guess what? We can do both.
when those games on the same level.
One topping pizza, medium, 10.99. And that's how you got the game. You had to pay a premium to get it, but
So, it's a was with 15 seconds becoming like NBA Jam, Time Crisis, or Mortal Kombat. As somebody who part of the community, and weird, noisy, competitive drive. Arcades were the only way to receive impossible graphics. While we're playing 16-bit at home, Jarfing the Virtual Fighter, or Daytime USA, 3D polygons that look like the future. You put your code device on the screen, say I got next, and the tension wide waiting for the current gig that it'll finish was insane. And when you lost your full topic, you still got all of the 32-bit combo, how was your new world?
arcades were enormous back then. They were very common. You'd find them alongside movie theaters, inside malls, um, strip malls. Pretty much, you'd find them inside of um, bowling alleys. It's just the thing. Wherever people gathered in bunches, they often had a place for kids to go to, you know? Um, Parents would oftentimes they would go to a bar or some establishment like that. They'd give you, $20. You would go to the quarter machine. Might not even give you 20. They'd probably give you something like 10. But anyways, they'd give you the money, you'd put it in the change machine, and there you go. You got a fucking, you know, couple of hours maybe if you were smart with it. If not, then you're just kind of walking around watching the games, which is kind of lame, but that was the reality of the 90s.
You put a micro game arcades wasn't just about the game. There were rituals most things that we had to make original social network. Not every idea worked out. Some of the right idea but the wrong execution. Take Nintendo's Virtual Boy from 1995.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. The Virtua Boy was cool, but I think the Sega's version was better.
It barely got all the Tiger Arts mountain handheld that made you look like a cyborg when it's stared into a tiny mirror screen. Then it was interactive, high definition trying to combine movies and games using giant data discs. It was heavy, expensive, and just confusing. Gaming wasn't wild for it. Every success was a spectacular failure, like the Apple Pippin or the Amiga CD3.
Yeah,
Sure,
a lot of flops. And the worst part was, so back in this time, people did like the older adults of this era did not know the difference between systems. So they would go to a yard sale, they would see all these games, and they're like, you know what? Little my nephew, my niece, my grandkids, they like games. They got a game system. I don't know if this will work for their game system. So a lot of times you'd find yourself in a situation like that. This was terrible. They're just trying to trigger me again. This was fun. Echo was fun. This is so arcade driving racing games are the biggest scam in U.S. history for the longest time, and nobody did anything. It's like a claw machine. Um, every arcade had a racing game. Some of them were more fair than others, but most of the time you would have a very one, you could tell they're rigged because the wheel jerks itself one way or the other on purpose. Um, it will downshift you for no real reason. The braking would be crazy. And just sitting in the chair, a lot of times you couldn't distance yourself properly. So it just messed with you in every angle possible. And that's just wild. You know what I mean? Like that was that was that was messed up.
Can't figure out the ball in Simon's quest. No internet, no YouTube, no Reddit, no only help.
Castlevania is its own thing. There's the books. There's the cartridge one. You had to call a hotline, a telephone number, and talk to somebody online on the phone, and they would talk you through the stuff, but they charged you per minute that you talked to them. So they would spend hours talking to you about stuff that you were doing and give you the information very slowly just so you would pay an extra $9 or whatever the charge was. This, your gaming Bible cheat sheet. Grand Theft Auto was perfect for this. You would have a notebook, or maybe you would just get printer paper like these guys did. Maybe you use a back of an envelope, um, something, and then you just write it down. And hopefully you wrote it down right and legible enough for everybody to read, because you're otherwise you're just kind of you know exactly.
invincibility, but they just cracked the code in the Matrix. Looking back, it wasn't just about the pixels and plastic.
Man,
It was anticipation of the combat of the show. The arguments that were used
that was also a thing. You riding home with that game in your hand. You had to wait, play it. You were so excited. You open it up. You read the book like it was going to tell you all the answers.
live in a world where the secret shadow playground, not on Reddit, where a sticky controller was our biggest problem.
Jeez, dude. I know I was a culprit too, but this was egregious. The sticky controllers, the messed up keys.
The
Fortnite. I didn't see why he had Fortnite there.
gaming has changed. The graphics are lifelike, the worlds are infinite, and you can play with any planet. There's a specific kind of magic from the 90s and 2000s that hardware resolution just can't replicate. So I want to hear from you. What's that one game?
Okay, now he's just wrapping things up. But the point of all that is the 90s was very unique. It had a lot to offer. The 2000s too. There was a bit of magic that was kind of reserved for the kids. It was something that was unique, and they kind of just set it aside just for those youth of our nation, of every nation. And it was something that honestly you don't really get these days. Today it's all about maximizing profits. They kind of forgot what it means to cater to our next generation. Sure, kids today have many games that they can play. Um, they have many other forms of media to consume, and I'm sure 5, 10 years down the line, those guys are going to have stories of their own to tell. But the important thing to take away from this is not that it was just not just how different it is, but how short of time it's been since those differences took place. It seems like just yesterday that those of us of a certain age, we just look back and, oh, the Nintendo 64 came out just yesterday. Or maybe it was the PlayStation for you. Or maybe it was PlayStation 3 or Xbox 360 or whatever. Um, these game consoles, they were just a stepping stone onto what we are currently using now. Switch, being over 8 years old now, is just a memory to some young adult now. The PlayStation 4, the Xbox One, those are just relics of the past. Some of these consoles are just what we oh, it was what we got, you know. Some of them are just, you know, the precursor to what they have now. And the thing about the games, the consoles, the media isn't about the games themselves, stories that were told. It's about the memories made as we watch these. The memories made from the people who's been touched along the way. It's the friends and family that we shared these experiences with. That's what makes it special. That's what makes it good and wholesome. And gaming allows that for me, for you, for your children and your children's children. And we can share these stories with one another because it's the memories that we pass on to others that really gives those who come after a glimpse of what is yet to come. I know things can always seem a little dark and uncertain. However, there's always a little bit of light to be found for those who look for it. Okay, so here we are. What are you going to share with those around you? I know I will be a little bit stronger, a little bit better as I go on throughout my days.